Hello Visioneers, and welcome to Small Business Celebration. We're continuing our series on small business owners who not only survived the last recession, but thrived from it. And our guests this week, well, they are the cream of the restaurant business, and they know how to move beyond profitability. This is Small Business Celebration. Join us as we learn from successful business owners and successful business leaders about who they are, from where their business has grown, what they have learned, and where their successful business is going. I am your host, Michael I. Roberts, and we're going to learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. Hello Visioneers, and welcome to Small Business Celebration. And our guest this week is Jessica Pounds, the owner of Moo Creamery. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being here.
And for Visioneers who don't know who you are you and what is it that you do?
I am Jessica Pounds and I own Moo Creamery.
One of the reasons we're here is in a fairly short amount of time, Moo Creamery has become a fixture of Bakersfield and Kern County. And one of the things I wanted to explore with you is because here we are in the age of COVID, and restaurants have an unusual set of circumstances that they have to fill. And for Visioneers, you probably noticed that we're doing this interview while Moo Creamery is open and having business. And so if you see people walking across in the background, you know, well, this is because this is an active business with active people. One of the things about Moo Creamery is you started this business at the height of the last recession back in 2008. First of all, why?
Well, it wasn't really planned that way, but you know, I was working down in LA and I was approached to look at some places to open up in Bakersfield. One great thing about Bakersfield is, you know, it has a pretty, you know, firm economy with,
right,
you know, with agriculture. And so when I was approached and started looking at places, no one else was opening at that time. So I figure, might as well do it. When the economy is great, everyone wants to open business.
Right.
And I've always kind of done things in an off fashion. So I figured, why not?
Why cows?
Well, I've never had a real obsession or love for cows like some people may think. I loved burgers and I loved ice cream, so the initial concept that I kind of created the business plan off of was burgers, ice cream, and beer. Burgers obviously focus on beef, ice cream focuses on dairy, both come from a cow. As I was kind of jotting up, you know, ideas when I worked in LA, a 17-year-old employee who was taking graphic design classes at her high school came up with the Moo logo, and I said, I have no design ability, so I said, okay, perfect, that's it, and we still have the same logo now. So Moo kind of stuck.
One of the other key components to Moo Creamery is you are not a restaurateur prior to Moo Creamery. In fact, your background is in accounting and economics. What got you into the restaurant business?
Well, when I was going to college, I worked at a restaurant in Century City, Beverly Hills area. It was a little place called Clementine. When I first started, when I was 19, there were, I think, probably 6 employees at the restaurant. The owner had opened a year prior, and I worked there when I graduated, the owner offered me a full-time job, and I had a debate between accounting or the food business. Money is obviously better in accounting. Hours are longer in the food business. On paper, it seems like accounting would be a no-brainer, but
right,
I was addicted to the restaurant business, and I was addicted to the people in it, the vendors, the staff, the customers, the go, go, go. I couldn't get enough of it, and so I went that direction and then kind of just worked myself up from being a counter server. So
One of the other things that's unique about Moo Creamery is it has a different kind of a vibe. You went into this business as a business. You didn't go into it as a passing fancy or as a hobby. You came into this with a P&L, a balance sheet in mind. With the recession that you opened in 2008, and we're in a recession now with COVID, what did you learn from opening this restaurant in 2008 that you're applying to the recession we're in now?
I learned that people do notice hard work. Bakersfield is a very, very supportive community when it comes to small business. And I think when I opened in 2008, people were intrigued about what we were doing. We were very unique at that point. People were, said how weird we were. What is Spanish chorizo? You're putting dates on a burger.
Right.
What are you doing here? Why don't you have Coors Light? And I want the regular burger. So people didn't really understand what we were doing, but they kept coming. So we've gotten support from the beginning. And I think, when they see you putting your heart and soul into it, I think that customers recognize that and customers want to come back to support you.
One of the things that you brought up is very important and is part of your long-term success that you've had, and especially in this recession, is you differentiated yourself from everybody else in town. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how she differentiated herself and the restaurant and why it continues to be a success. And if Visioneer Nation want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Well, our website is www.moocreamery.com. Our email address is info at moocreamery.com. My personal email address is jessica@moocreamery.com. And our phone number is 661-861-1130.
What was that number again?
661-861-1130.
Sounds good. And remember to go ahead and like, subscribe, and notify, and we'll be right back. In times like these, the sharp business owner knows that now is the time to invest in undervalued businesses to move their financial future forward. But how do you find the right business? How do you arrange financing? How do you analyze the prospective business financials and industry information to make the right decision? Do what the proud owners of the Tire Man have done. Turn to Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA and buy the undervalued business to move your financial future forward. Call Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA today. We're here with Jessica Pounds, the owner of Moo Creamery, and we've got a question that's come in from Visioneer Nation. And if you have a question that you would like our guest to be asked, you can go ahead and reach us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Leave your question, and who knows, your question could appear here on Small Business Celebration. And Visioneer Heidi asked, how do you create a team experience? What strategies do you use to get everyone on the same page and towards the same goal?
Well, I think that's a very good question. And for restaurants in particular, one thing I love about the restaurant business is you're getting employees from all different walks of life. You're getting, high schoolers that want to come work here part-time. You're getting people that just came to the U.S. and are trying to find an entry-level job. You're getting people who want to be chefs and use this as a career. And it's a very unique type of industry.
Right.
But the great thing, I think, for me, the best thing is, it starts from the top. So you have to set a good example. I know my staff knows, I always preach customer service. It's every position in here is a customer service job, whether that's the dishwasher or whether that's the actual server.
Right.
the customers have to have clean dishes. Therefore, it's everything is for the customer. The customer is our ultimate boss. I'm not their boss. The customers are.
Sure.
Because me, myself, I'm not making the money. The customers are paying for me to distribute. So I'm just kind of the middleman. But I think to get everyone on the same page, you have to keep things interesting. So,
okay. How do you keep things interesting?
I mean, we're always having different specials. I'm always in the kitchen asking the staff, do you have any ideas? Let's have a competition. Let every cook come up with a special, and we'll see which special sells the most, and the winner gets a $100 gift card to another local restaurant.
That is a brilliant idea. That is great because
people thrive on competition.
They do, and you're allowing people to be creative and have actual input into the business.
Yeah, and a lot of the, what people come up with, staff lunches, things like that, then they're like, oh, you got to try this. So we always encourage people to be creative. I always ask for people's advice when, creating menus, whether it's creating a closing checklist. I feel like if they have input into it, then they're more invested into the business in order to, to train new people and to kind of keep everyone, on the same page. So.
Part of developing this and this employee engagement that you have is also how you, as you just mentioned, put the checklist together. You put the systems together for the restaurant. Give us an example of how you have gotten the input from your employees to put their checklist together and how to develop systems that they can effectively use.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have, restaurants are all about checklists, and we have a lot of different, aspects of this business, whether it's, our full liquor bar now, our deli salads, our ice cream bar, things like that. So the staff knows where, when they do their checklist every night, if anything kind of pops up, or if the openers, if they notice that something wasn't done, maybe closing the night before, then I have a whiteboard on my office door. Any sort of notes they can put there. They all, or they just leave paper notes or come tell me. And so it's just constant adjustment. And that's the restaurant business, especially this year. Everything is a constant adjustment. I have 5 pages of additional COVID closing checklists.
Right.
Making sure the outdoor tents are folded and cleaned down and everything like that. So it's been an interesting year, and but you just have to roll with the punches, I guess.
And one of the things that you're able to do with these checklists is, well, true to form, you're starting or thinking about opening another restaurant, and we're in a recession. I think there's a pattern going on here. I opened one restaurant during a recession. I think I'll do another.
It's any sort of downtime, and my head goes a little crazy, I guess. There's not as much catering right now, so without the catering sales, I always try to think of other ways to grow. So.
And the way to grow is in opening another restaurant. And how are you going to take these systems that your employees have very deftly put together into the new restaurant?
I think one thing is just kind of, you learn a lot, and there's a lot of mistakes along the way, and you can kind of transform that into what makes the staff thrive.
Right.
What gets people excited. One reason I would love to do a Mexican restaurant is that I learned about Mexico through the kitchen staff, through their, kind of Latin American culture and how amazing it is, and, how much, work and time and unique ingredients and how much love they have for food. It's pretty inspiring. So they're definitely, America has kind of grown to be open a bag of frozen food and throw it in the fryer or throw it in the, it's all about convenience and quick and things like that. Whereas, the culture of many other countries is the food is a labor of love, and people spend all day in the kitchen, creating a dish for their family to eat. So I want to bring that kind of Mexican culture to Bakersfield. It's not just rice and beans and
Right.
2 tacos. There's a lot more to it, and I think that would be I think the staff, anytime we've done Mexican specials, they have been very inspired and very intrigued and want to know the history, and so it's pretty fun to see.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about not just the impetus for Moo Creamery, but we're also going to talk about something that's very unique and passionate that Jessica has with this restaurant when we come right back. Can you believe our 100th episode is right around the corner? Neither can I. But who would you like to see as our guest here on Small Business Celebration's 100th episode? Well, if you've got a thought, leave their name in the comment section below, and your guest of your choice could be here on Small Business Celebration for our 100th episode. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and who knows, your guest could be our guest here on Small Business Celebration's 100th episode. We're here with Jessica Pounds, the owner of Moo Creamery, and you are a sports nut.
Yeah, a little bit. I've loved sports since from the time I can remember. I stayed up watching every Laker game at night, watching Chick Hearn as the announcer and
Right.
Magic Johnson. And then as far as NFL goes, I was a Tennessee Titans fan. Well, it started back when they were the Houston Oilers.
That was something I was going to ask you, is why the Houston Oilers and now Tennessee Titans?
So Houston Oilers, when I did fantasy football from the time my dad was in fantasy football, and I would tag along when I was 6 years old, and I would try to look, that was before the internet. So
Right.
you'd have to get all the magazines and Cliff Charpentier's books and look up data, and I would create, as many spreadsheets as I could, and I loved the data part of it.
Sure.
And I loved the draft and keeping up with the stats. The Houston Oilers at that time had the run and shoot offense. No one has that anymore, but they always had 4 wide receivers, and they scored a lot of points.
There you go.
So when you're a kid,
It's
you
exciting.
like to see touchdowns. Jerry Glanville was the coach. He was always kind of a rebellious coach. He came in with a motorcycle and a cowboy hat. My family were Rams fans, and I was a Houston Oilers fan because of Jerry Glanville and the run and shoot offense.
One of the other things, too, about the Houston Oilers during that period, and part of the reason they won so well, is they're a very well-conditioned team. And that was one of the things that made them successful, where Warren Moon was able to throw those long bombs just time and time again. That's something that stuck out through your career in sports, too, is endurance and keeping up and keeping up and keeping going. How have you been able to translate that into what you do here at Moo Creamery?
I think it's just, you just got to keep going, and you have to, I talk to myself a lot when you're going to have rough moments, and you just got to talk to yourself. And I think in sports, you see that all the time. You see guys on the bench with head down talking to themselves. They get back on the field and they're ready to go. And you just everyone has their different thing. People have good days, bad days, but guess what? If you're an NFL player and it's a Sunday and you're having a bad day, it doesn't matter. You got to get on the field, and you have a whole team depending on you. And that's how I feel. There's no good days and bad days when it comes to work. I have a staff that depends on me, and I try to encourage the staff same way. Not, we all have personal problems. Life is hard. Life is very hard. But use work as kind of therapy. We have each other. We're here. We don't have to focus on life for a little bit while we're at work, and lean on each other and work as a team. And it doesn't matter. Teams that have the best players aren't always the best teams.
Right.
It's teams that have the best teamwork are the best teams. So my favorite player in basketball was always Magic Johnson, and he still is an inspiration. He's not the fastest, not the best shooter. He's 6'9". He could play point guard or center. Not that he was the most skilled. He knew the game. He always knew where his teammates were, and he was the ultimate team player. He didn't care about his statistics. He cared about winning. So I encourage that. So I use a lot of, talking to staff. They can relate to sports a lot. Most people have played a sport, at some point. I always wanted to be athletic, but I just wasn't born with it. So instead, I watch sports a lot. But yeah, there's so much to learn from sports, especially when it comes to teamwork and just, being the best you can be.
I'm going to use one of your quotes that I think is absolutely choice. It says, "Do your thing. People are watching." First of all, where did this idea come from, and why is this something that you repeat over and over and over again?
I just think we're in a time where, young people, nothing against the millennials, but they kind of have this expectation of a participation ribbon, an award for just showing up.
Right.
And I think that holds them back. And I think, do your thing, be the best you can be. Even if someone doesn't give you an award right away, you will be rewarded long term because people are watching.
Right.
People are noticing things.
And that's what happened to you here with Moo Creamery.
Yeah, absolutely. I was working down in LA and I loved what I was doing. I worked my tail off and, I treated the restaurants I worked at, I treated them as my own.
Right.
I didn't know anyone was watching, anything would come of it. And then I was contacted, by Greg Bynum and the Bynum family. And they contacted me, "Hey, you interested in opening a place in Moo? We see what you've done." I noticed that they had kind of showed up in the restaurants when they would go, that I worked at when they were passing through LA. But I didn't think anything of it. And then they helped me, find a location, which, there was going to be this great freeway that provided so much access to it, until, things shifted a little bit. But, they helped me build it out. In 2008, it wasn't so easy to get a bank loan.
Right.
But I think with the Bynums, with my parents, other, family, friends, or acquaintances, they saw the work I was doing in Los Angeles, and they supported me and had my back through, fighting for me to get a bank loan and offered as guarantors for the loan I got.
Now, earlier in our conversation, you mentioned that your schooling is in economics and accounting, and in fact, your mother wanted you to be an accountant, and she gave you a book that totally changed your view on everything from accounting.
Yes, absolutely.
What was that book?
So when I was debating between accounting and the restaurant business, my mom gave me a Kitchen Confidential from Anthony Bourdain. I believe it was written in 2000. Anyway, so it's a very, for those of you who are not familiar with Anthony Bourdain, he is very direct, to the point. He does not sugarcoat anything, and he tells it how it is. And so it's all about the kitchen life of, it's hot, it's long hours, you're sweating, you're yelling,
it's your dream.
It's a constant, yeah, exactly. Well, I think that, she thought it was going to scare me away, and instead it made me want it even more. I'm like, this sounds great. I love the thrill of it. I love the challenge of it. So it didn't go as she had initially hoped, but I think now she will, I think she's pretty happy with what direction I went. So.
What is one thing that Visioneers can do today to grow a strong and profitable business?
All right. Well, one thing I recommend, I opened Moo when I was 26, and I trusted everyone. I trusted every vendor that walked through the door, everyone that wanted me to sign something. I thought everyone had my back. Not the case. Read the fine print. Contracts, those 25-page contracts that you think, okay, yeah, I'm just going to sign this stuff isn't important. It's very, very important. So, read the fine print. When you need to, don't feel like you have to sign on the dotted line out of, sense of urgency. Tell people, I'll sign that, I'll get back to you. And if they demand you to sign it right now, that's a huge red flag. Run the other way and give them your business card.
Well, speaking of business cards, if Visioneers want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Our website is moocreamery.com. Email address is info@moocreamery.com, or my personal one, jessica@moocreamery.com. I would love to hear from anyone with any questions. The phone number here is 661-861-1130.
And remember, Visioneers, remember to like, subscribe, and notify. And Jessica, this has been a real pleasure. Thank you for being on Small Business Celebration.
Thank you so much for coming by.
In times like these, the sharp business owner knows that now is the time to invest in undervalued businesses to move their financial future forward. But how do you find the right business? How do you arrange financing? How do you analyze the prospective business financials and industry information to make the right decision? Do what the proud owners of the Tire Man have done. Turn to Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA and buy the undervalued business to move your financial future forward. Call Sunbelt Business Brokers and Advisors at 661-323-2358 or visit them at sunbeltnetwork.com/Bakersfield-CA today. Who is a Visioneer? A Visioneer is a business leader who is a pioneer that has vision. A Visioneer is someone willing to see the world not as it is, but as it could be, and is willing to do something about it. A Visioneer is ethical, smarter, faster, and leaner than the mainstream competition. A Visioneer gives value first because Visioneers are in the business for the long haul. Visioneers understand the difference between saving money and earning a profit. Visioneers define their destiny. Visioneers create their own luck. Visioneers surround themselves with successful, like-minded people. Visioneers are renegades who defy the mainstream competition and are ready to change the world. Are you a Visioneer? Join the Visioneer tribe with Small Business Celebration on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram today.